Good evening, everybody, and welcome on into the VRS Week 4. I am your host and substitute producer for the night, Infinite Dodge. I am joined by Shogun, as per usual, and Becky Rita stepping on in to cover some of the color casting duties on the night. Gentlemen, how are you doing?
I am doing great. How are you doing?
You know, I'm a little bit nervous. I'm doing the producing stuff. I'm hoping Twitch chat can hear us all right. Let us know if we can't be heard. Let us know if anything's going a little bit screwy, music, anything like that. Just keep me up to date in Twitch chat, and I'll try and keep an eye over there as it goes. As you guys can tell from my background, I'm doing very computer hackery producer stuff. Becky, how are you doing tonight? Thanks for joining us.
It's a pleasure to be here. I'm happy to always fill in, get some League of Legends action inserted into my veins, especially on the new patch. There's a ton of exciting things to discuss, to look at, and really looking forward to see what these teams are going to bring out. If anything is really going to fundamentally change, or if these teams are going to look to abuse some of these champs that are currently unbelievably strong on the current power levels. But we'll have to see if that actually holds up, because there are some people who they believe that this patch was entirely cope. Where all the players are just huffing copium and nothing actually changed in the meta. But
this patch is massive.
I don't necessarily know if that's true. I'll use it as an excuse because my solo queue games have been going badly, but for the time being, I do think that we're going to see some really interesting stuff tonight, some stuff that you might not have seen in a while.
Yeah, for sure. Shogun, before we do get into breaking down that 1210 durability update, how has the goings been going for you in terms of the solo queue games?
The goings have been decent. I haven't been playing a whole lot. In fact, I've only really been playing on my recently level 30 Smurf. So that's all I've really been doing. Good old Velveeta Cup. Just playing some ADCs, just messing around. Don't even have like the good ADCs right now. Don't even have like Vayner Kog'Maw, so it doesn't like really matter. But yeah, that's all I've been really doing.
We do have a breakdown for the patch coming on up that we can get into here, as I will ask Becky to not necessarily help us break down the patch yet, because I'm trying to hunt down why you are echoing. Can't really identify that quite yet. I would ask you to make sure you're muted on OBS Ninja. But Shogun, why don't you break down a little bit about what exactly the durability update entails for everybody at home who doesn't know about it?
Yeah, for sure. So the durability update essentially added just a little bit of tank stats. I believe it was like, I don't know what exactly it was. It was something like a little bit of okay. So base health is plus 70. Health growth is now plus 14. Armor growth is 1.2, and magic resist growth is 0.8. So I don't know what the exact numbers for the armor growth ends up being. It ends up being somewhere around like, I don't know. I think it's like an extra 20, 25 armor somewhere around there. Probably a little bit more. I don't know exactly where my math is there, but it's essentially aiming to try to buff up the durability of these champions, make the fights last a little bit longer without actually lengthening the overall length of the game. And instead of making it grindy, just making the fights a little more longer instead, to leave a little bit room for some outplay potential.
Shogun, you sound like you're talking from a cave right now. I'm so sorry.
That's okay.
We can't. I can't nail down why exactly you sound like you're talking from a cave. So I'm going to send it to a break while we work on getting you, being able to cast without sounding like you're doing it from the Carlsbad Caverns. So. Yeah, free content. That's a good way of looking at it, PP's delivery service.
True.
So, keep an eye out. We'll be back in just a little bit here. We're going to send it to a Fiverr while we do try to take that down. So we'll be back in just a moment here.
Go. Divine Ascension, Frostbite on the blue side, and Dorado Gaming Iota on the red side. And looks like we got Lulu banned away. Hopefully our echo is gone. I
Yeah,
don't know. I don't have.
I turned
Okay.
the audio on, so I was listening. The audio was actually muted for a second there, and I was like, "Oh God, no!
I see.
Please, somebody help!" But no, it's working now. So we are schmoovin'. Let's go into it.
Gosh.
We have Frostbite versus Dorado. As you said, the bans are coming out. We're actually seeing a lot of champions that are really popular on this patch right now. With the Senna, the Zillion, the Renata, all have been really high priority, at least on the first couple days of this patch.
I also like the Lulu being taken away because I feel like the strongest ADCs right now, or at least the people who or the ADCs that everyone thought was going to be strong, really work well with the Lulu. And that would be, of course, the Kog'Maw, the Vayne, stuff like that
Yeah,
that do that true damage.
yeah, hyper carries are back, and we're gonna see the Kog'Maw get denied there as well. A lot of high priority picks. I'm curious to see what Divine Ascension are gonna pick up. The Seraphine would be an interesting first pick. It is a flex, so there is potential with that. However, I think it is a bit weaker on this patch than some of the other champions we've seen. They will lock it in. That's a bold choice.
Yep, it is an interesting one. I do think it is one of those. It's probably the most traditional enchanter if you want to take it mid lane. I think you could take a lot of other things, or at least the most effective, I'd say, mid lane. You could. Oh, that is a Gwen
The
that's immediately locked
Gwen.
in. There's
The
no way that's like
Gwen.
a Gwen top, though, right? That'd be.
Gwen has been showing up in some of, and like there's some win rates for Gwen that are they're reasonable. Like she's definitely not a terrible champ. Draven is a terrible champion. Don't pick this guy. This guy is horrendous on this patch right now. Okay, the Aphelios is gonna get locked in. This is a hyper carry, maybe not on the same tier as the Vayne and the Kog'Maw because he doesn't deal true damage, and his lethality that you get from his passive is a little bit weaker than you would get from other champions, but he is still that late game insurance policy and that hyper carry. Plus, it plays really well into champions like Jinx, so I think it is decent here. We have the Ashe getting picked up in response. I wouldn't be surprised to see a support get picked as well. Just secure the bot lane here. Not necessarily sure what will go with the Ashe. A lot of engaged tanks are really good right now, and they work really well with Ashe. So, could be just pick up a Nautilus, pick up a Leona. They're both on the table.
Could be. Also, could be that they don't want to break the flex this early, and that's exactly
That
what
is
they're
true.
thinking with the Urgot being locked in. So making sure that they and Seraphine also works really well with Ashe, right? Because of how Ashe's slows interact with the Seraphine.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Plus, Enchanted Crystal Arrow into Encore. Just a really
Oh, yeah.
good, easy and reliable CC combo in the bot lane. And the Urgot is maybe not amazing on this patch compared to some of the really top tier bruisers, but he is quite good. We are looking at the Akali as an option. It's going to be the Mordekaiser instead. But that is still not giving away the game here because we've seen quite a bit of Mordekaiser jungle showing up on this patch as well. In the same vein as Darius, who is actually Darius's clear speeds are pretty reasonable, and Mordekaiser as well is quite good in terms of clear. So that could be jungle. We could see the Gwen top. A lot of flexes on the table. This is really interesting.
Yep, I do like so far what the dogs are going for. They go ahead and ban away that Cassiopeia as well. Pretty sure that Seraphine is going into that bot lane role. I don't know if I'd be that certain. I do think Cass is a solid choice for them to pick, though, if they did want to stick with Seraphine in bot lane. So I can't really blame them for getting rid of that one, as they will get rid of the Silas. I think that's an excellent ban for Divine Ascension, considering the ultimates they have available themselves.
Yeah, no, it is definitely a good pickup, a good ban there. Just Silas is also with the durability changes, getting the extra armor in MR. Who would have known? It's actually just really good on a champion like Silas, who's very melee and has to go in deep to actually get any damage dealt. We do see the Lilia getting banned. That is surprising. This champ does not have a very high win rate. I would imagine that this is more based on players individually rather than any sort of insight onto the patch. I wouldn't. Maybe the Lilia is fine. I'd have to see more data on it because there's not that many Lilia players these days. Yasuo goes down, and we will have Viego being hovered.
Maybe locked in. I could see it as well. The only thing that I would worry about if they do lock in Viego is where's Gwen and Mordekaiser going? Because I'm pretty sure you're slotting Gwen in as the mid laner, and so
Look, sometimes you flex yourself into a corner. Like, you flex too hard, and then you end up with 5 champions that don't go anywhere. And it's like, well, I don't know what to do anymore. You got any ideas? Olaf, the Axeman himself, the dominating force of the top lane, is on the team that already has Urgot. So they could be looking at a jungle Olaf, or okay, this could be the Urgot jungle though. All right, we have not considered the Urgot jungle, the Malzahar Urgot wombo combo. You just pick a guy and kill him.
I'd be a little bit worried about the idea of picking Mordekaiser if I'm like the dogs and I'm looking at that. Mordekaiser definitely scares me here, but
Uh,
okay, Seraphine dead.
okay,
I had
okay.
to. I don't know why that took me so long. I actually hate Bard here.
I also hate Bard
for a
here.
couple
What
of
is the
reasons.
choice?
It's I actually think you can have a decent Exodia comp if you picked Leona instead of Bard. I think this composition is like 10 times better. I see what the Bard is. I think it can work. The Bard can definitely work with your team comp. You can play with it. I just think there were better choices. It's not like, oh, you completely demolish your entire team comp, it doesn't work anymore. It still works. It still does what you need it to do. I
It's
just
just
think
not the
there were
best pick.
exactly.
This feels like, a little bit of limit testing, maybe trying to see what they can get away with in this first game, because this is a 3-game series. They will have time to try and flex some of their drafting muscles here, and Dog have flexed quite hard. We have 3 champions that aren't necessarily locked into their role yet. We have the Gwen, who is still top mid or jungle. We have Akshan, top or mid. We have Mordekaiser, top or jungle. I have seen Mordekaiser mid. It didn't go well, so I don't expect to see it here. But, aside from the bot lane, we don't necessarily know where Dog is going to be sending their players yet, and that I'm curious what you think about where Dog is gonna assign these laners, because Divine Ascension, they're more obvious as to where their champions are going, unless it's like Urgot Jungle, and that's like be the only real surprise here. So I'm curious as to your opinion on what Dog's gonna do.
Mhm. Uh, I think dogs should, depending on where Gwen and Mordekaiser slot into. If Gwen slots into the top lane, I think you could theoretically play around either the bot or the top lane. I think both are completely fine. I do think giving a lot of attention to that top lane is going to be important for a dog win, as long as Aphelios and Nautilus can hold their own and not get abused by the Olaf. I think you can get the Gwen ahead, and things get really scary for Divine Ascension Frostbite, especially considering their top laner is their stronger point of this team, as in terms of who the player is. For those of you who may not be aware, the top laner for Divine Ascension Frostbite is Diamond 4. Meanwhile, the Dorado Gaming Iota top laner is Gold 1, so there is a pretty big rank disparity there.
Oh no, the Olaf. Oh, it's okay. If that was actually Olaf top, just running over this guy. Moonshot will not get to play the game. Olaf is gross in the top lane. He just kills you. There's nothing you can do about it. He takes Ignite, he takes Ghost, he runs you over. It is disgusting. It doesn't matter which champion you are, he just does it. But we're going to see the Olaf jungle, and players have been showing that the Olaf is a lot less fast in the jungle than he used to be. With the changes to his W being a shield now rather than the attack speed steroid we were used to with his previous kit, he doesn't clear as fast as he did before. You still have his Q damage, and his Q resets are a lot better than they used to be, but his clears are definitely slower on this patch than in comparison to where he was pre, I don't remember what Riot's calling them, mid-patch adjustments.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, and on the side of Dog, we will figure out that this is going to end up being a Gwen in the jungle and Kongi on the Akshan in the mid lane.
Mm-hmm. Which makes sense. I completely forgot that Mordekaiser counters Urgot really hard, so all of a sudden Moonshot is actually set up pretty well to survive in the top lane and to win the top lane. He just needs to make sure that he doesn't get abused and push up too far and then die, because that would be really bad for the dogs if they can get that Urgot snowballing, get him rolling, because he can take over a game pretty well. Looking at the side of now that Mordekaiser is slotting up into the top side, I actually do think they should play more around Aphelios and get him fed as much as possible, because all of a sudden that's your win condition are these three that you're going to see in the middle. You're going to see Gwen, Akshan, Aphelios. Those are, you get any one of those champions snowballing and things can get pretty dangerous.
Yeah, it'll get dangerous for sure. There are a lot of power points on the side of this dog comp. But on the flip side, Frostbite has drafted quite a formidable comp. Maybe the Bard is a little bit, suspect in terms of what their goal is trying to be in the game, but overall, the rest of the pieces of their comp are still very excellent. You have all that utility coming in from the Seraphine and from the Ashe, and then you just have Urgot and Olaf run people over. Literally a freight train, just running people down. This Axeman is going to be the angriest person you've seen in the game in a long time. And it's going to be very exciting to see how that will turn out. But I got to ask, for this game, which draft do you think is superior? Which team is going to take this game one?
I gotta say, when it comes to just straight up team fighting, it does look like Divine Ascension Frostbite have the upper hand slightly, only because I think the Olaf gives it to them, and the amount of like both disengage and engage that they have is actually pretty good. I think Bard is actually really good for that, being able to play both styles. So for that reason, I think Divine Ascension Frostbite's composition is easier to execute. However, if the dogs play their composition perfectly, not including laning phase or all that, but if they play the team fights perfectly, I actually think that they have the damage to make Olaf disappear and
Oh
then
yeah.
try to go forward from there. But they don't have a whole lot of dive to get down onto the Ashe. But I mean, you take down Urgon and Olaf, I feel like there's not a lot of damage left on this team, or maybe depending on how fed the Seraphine or Ashe get rid of one of them instead.
Yeah, we will have to see about that. I do think that I agree with you that Frostbite's comp, while it looks like it can easily abuse the side of Dog, their lack of damage threats on the bottom side of the map is going to be a problem, I think. Ashe can get to that hyper carry status, but it takes her a lot longer to get there in comparison to the Aphelios, and it really comes down to the skill of the pilot. You can see Ruler, for example, performing
Right.
on Ashe and making this champion look like the best champion in the entirety of League of Legends. But that requires such precision in terms of your spacing and your kiting, and it requires so much practice that in comparison to other AD carries, you're going to not get that maximum value out of the pick. So I think it's just going to be lower damage overall. I actually, maybe it's because I believe in the power of coin flipping, but I do like dogs. I believe in dogs comp. I think that they are going to pump out some crazy damage and shut down these damage threats in the front line from Frostbite and just run over the game.
Yep, we'll see if they're able to coin flip their way to victory. But before we see any of that action, we are going to go ahead and throw it over to a quick break. So don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alrighty, and we are back to the action. Once again, we have Divine Ascension Frostbite on the blue side and our Dorado Gaming Iota on the red side. As you can see, we have a little bit of action, nothing crazy, just fighting for vision more than anything. I believe the Olaf managed to get cheeky little ward in that red buff pit there.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, there is a ward that is placed in the pit. It was placed by the Olaf, as you said. So he's able to get that, go back, get the Oracle's Lens. Classic start from the junglers here. And we weren't able to talk about this in the pre-show because we ran into technical issues, but if you are unaware of the current patch situation, basically it's a huge durability overhaul for every single champion. And since this is a pretty slow start, I think this is a good opportunity to sort of break down what we can expect to see with these changes. So pretty much the baseline rundown: healing has been cut, shielding has been cut, base armor, health, and magic resist are all increased across the board with a couple of exceptions. Like Thresh, for example, doesn't get any boosted armor because of his W passive. But overall, what this is going to do is it makes a lot of items like Flat Pen or Lethality, so Big Burst is going to be less effective than the sustained damage from champions like the Aphelios or the Urgot in this game. So we'll have to see how it plays out overall. There are a lot more changes. If you want to know more details, I would recommend checking out the patch notes on Riot's website to get all of the deets, because quite frankly, there isn't too much to really break down, and I don't remember everything off the top of my head. So overall, I think that the game has absolutely slowed down in terms of fights. We're still going to probably see a lot of action, but you're going to see players living longer, even if it's just by a couple of auto attacks, and that leaves more room for outplays, and it leaves more room for skill expression. So we're gonna have to see if it really is shown off in this match. But so far, not a whole lot to say. It's just a very slow start from both teams.
Yep, not a whole lot that's going on so far from both sides. There was a ward that was placed by the Urgot a bit ago, so that just expired. Pretty sure it saw Gwen when she was taking Raptors, so they should know where each jungler is. They should have an idea of where the Olaf is. If they assume that he started bot side, I think they might have gotten some vision on him there, so Mordekaiser should be fine.
Yeah, Mordekaiser did step up and do a little bit of poke onto Hydra in the topside jungle, but nothing really coming out of it. Kongi is actually going to try and poke out this Scuttler here. Everybody's aggressing onto it, trying to secure it for Zohair. We'll see if it actually goes through. Yeah, it looks like it's just going to be secured here. But we were looking at the bot lane there, and the Nautilus they hit the level 3 first. They just step up. Both crabs are getting secured away from Hydra. And yeah, this Olaf's going to be in a little bit of trouble. A little bit behind the curve. Only one camp, though. So not the end of the world, but definitely mentally it feels bad to lose both crabs if you're a jungler.
Yeah, and he should know that that's gone if his team, or if his bot lane specifically, voice that, hey, our bot lane's missing, they went into the river, he should go, and they were gone for a little bit, he should go, okay, Scuttle's probably gone, I'm just going to run to my Krugs, should be able to take that no problem. We'll see a bit of a trade in the top lane, but it shouldn't be too much, just Mordekaiser doing Mordekaiser things.
Yeah, this champ is so nice, and these sort of not quite high range champions like the Urgot, he just pulls you in and he slams you, and you don't have enough resistances to really fight this guy. He's made of metal. He is too big, and if you just get hit by the pole like that, you're gonna take a ton of damage.
Yep, and the Q, of course, it does more damage when it only hits one target. I actually think it might have gotten a minion who decided to walk in front of the Mordekaiser.
It clipped a little bit of a minion there. There's a different sound effect that goes with it. You get a meteor slunk if you hit a single target than if you hit multiple targets. Very satisfying. Also, really great audio cue to know if you're actually playing properly. But it's nice. Definitely really like the Mordekaiser into the Urgot here. And you mentioned this in the draft, that Mordekaiser, just a great pick into the Urgot here, and it's going to help neutralize what we were concerned about as the big gap between these two teams in terms of individual skill. We're not necessarily sure if Moonshot is going to be able to perform, and the Mordekaiser is going to give him a good chance, but we are going to see an early Dragon getting snuck here. There's no vision down for the side of Dorado.
No, there is not. And of course, the bot side for Dorado was on a reset, so this Dragon should go over easy peasy. Really nice stuff, really good team play from Divine Ascension Frostbite, as they end up playing around the bot side. That's going to be a level 6, an early level 6 for Bleeding Wolves. That could be a kill coming through, but Gwen is here as well. That's going to be a large shield, and it doesn't matter. Bleeding Wolves misses. The ultimate has to flash away. All of a sudden, things get a little dire, but he shouldn't die. Should be just fine. We'll get out of there. But Bleeding Wolves misplays, and if he hit that ultimate, might have been able to take him down, but that is not the case. But they will try to contest this Scuttle Crab. Akshan is not in the area. Gwen is going to be taking a lot of damage. Does get flipped over. Immune doesn't matter when you're melee. That's going to be first blood going over to Bleeding Wolves. The Scuttle Crab will be started up, as now Moonshot's going to go ahead and ult Bleeding Wolves, who has no ultimate. But now Moonshot trying to get that passive going, has that W available. Will he be able to use it? There's a Seraphine ultimate. Hits both of them. The Root's going to come in as well. Moonshot's going to get very low, will go down, and so will Kanji. And that's going to be a double kill coming in for the Olaf. Masked Hydra comes up huge in that fight.
That was a crazy good fight for the side of Frostbite there. They were just able to kite that out for so long and negate basically anything that Dorado was trying to do. Zohair just gets caught out in the river by the enemy team. Nowhere to go, nowhere to hide. Even being immune can't save you for too long. And then for some reason, Dorado stuck around and where they're like, we can take this 2v3. We just need Mordekaiser to get somebody down, get rid of Bleeding Wolves, and we can even the odds and try and take this fight. But he just wasn't able to kill. He didn't have the damage. The magic resist was too much here. Now Moonshot's in danger again.
Could, in fact, go down. Masked Hydra does have Ragnarok available. Doesn't need it, though, as they're just running him down. Ultimate is available for Bleeding Wolves, and he doesn't need it either. Masked Hydra will, in fact, get the kill onto that poor Mordekaiser in the top lane, who it's only going to get harder for here. Nice flash hook, though, from the Nautilus. They're going in onto the Ashe. Ashe is forced to flash away. Kanji is here trying to find the play. A great body block from the Bard, though, as they are split on who they want to focus, and as a result, they get neither of them for this play. Hook swings wide, unfortunately, as Bleeding Wolves takes a couple tower shots, but will be a-okay.
That was such a botched dive right there, but great play from both of the bot laners on the side of Frostbite there. Just doing whatever they can to get to that second tower. The magical journey from the Bard after the body block was so good. Just to keep himself aligned, he was able to get to a great spot where he couldn't get followed. Ashe alone under the tower, way too hard to get on. And because focus was so split from the side of Dorado, they got nothing. They wasted so much time and so many resources to get nothing. And it's really going to start showing how far behind they're falling in this early game. They're currently close to 2k down, but because the side of Dorado needs to get more going here, they don't necessarily have as much. I guess they do have quite a bit of late game power with their champions, but man, it really sucks to be falling far behind here because they can very easily get snowballed on by this Urgot and by this Olaf.
For sure, the Olaf snowballing is not good news if you are the Dogs, as now Gwen's going to get rooted up. Nothing should come of that one, though. Maybe Kanji wants to try to find the play, but it looks like it's just going to be that Scuttle that is secured by the Dogs, as we see everybody kind of resetting. Maybe a roam into the mid lane could be something interesting, but if that doesn't happen, you got to start wondering, what exactly can the Dogs do to try to get themselves back into this game?
Yeah, on the bright side, Arch is doing quite well in the lane. Currently 10 CS up, although there hasn't been that much action in terms of kills, and there was a lot of time wasted during that last engage. They have quite a bit of pressure down there, and that'll set up really well for the next Dragon. Although they do not have as much power topside, we do not have the TP on the Urgot. It might be up when the Dragon spawns. I would have to check the timers on that to be sure, but they don't have as much map movement to get down there, and if they aren't able to get pressure in the mid lane, bot lane is... Oh, never mind. What is this?
Could be a play on the top side. Moonshot does, in fact, ult though. Bleeding Wolf's getting very low. He's gonna find the solo kill for himself up there. And finally, things are looking up. You know, I was talking about ways back into this game. I guess getting yourself a solo kill is one way to do that. But they do
that
drop the
guy's
Richter over there.
He's Morta crazy, dude. Oh, man. I love Mordekaiser. This champion, he just kills you out of nowhere. You have to respect his damage. And I think there was a very good start of the trade there by Bleeding Wolves, but once you get put in the realm, you get all your stats stolen. It's so hard to just try and take that fight 1v1. And Olaf and the Urgot was not able to dodge enough Qs. He just took so much damage, give so much shielding over to the side of over to the side of the Mordekaiser, and it was just no going back from that. So giving over that kill is really going to help this Mordekaiser get back into the lane and get back into the game. We do see the second dragon going over in a potential play.
Yeah, trying to find the play. Nice cleanse immediately from the Aphelios as the hook will come through from Nautilus to get himself out of there. He'll be just fine as now Kanji wants to go in onto the Seraphine. Seraphine does have her ultimate available to try to find the play, but Kanji's going to try to use his ultimate, but Seraphine will get behind the tower. Exactly, and will be just fine.
Yeah, that is, you know, Akshon's ulti. I'll be honest, I've never been impressed by it. It just feels like, you know, he's tickling you with it. It's like the culling, but worse, right? It's really just not that threatening, but we do have a threatening fight here.
Yeah, trying to find the play onto the Bard. Bard is going to ult. Everybody should leave himself alive just in time for the Olaf to get here, but will he be able to do anything? Arch is in danger. Will go down as now Masked Hydra trying to run out and will be able to get out even though those tower shots come in. Doesn't matter. They will still trade 1-for-1.
That was a tempered fate for the ages right there. Keeping the team locked down in stasis, buying just enough time for Masked Hydra to get there with the Ghost and clean up, able to trade back there, get a 1-for-1. That's pretty decent, especially as it's going over to Olaf, who is one of their main win conditions right now. Moonshot taking quite a lot of damage on the top side of the map. Fortunately, does have the Leeching Leer, now actually has a bit more sustain. Granted, sustain not as good on this patch as it was on the last. But Riftmaker was one of the items that actually got away pretty scot-free. I think its percentage was literally 1. It got reduced by 1% Omnivamp, and that was the only real adjustment made to it. So it's still quite effective, especially in comparison to items like the Gore Drinker. Moonshot finding a pull hook. Oh, we got this!
Yeah, he does get the ultimate off. His Bleeding Wolves will try to have to fight back with his ultimate himself. As now Moonshot, he's just too strong. No execute will be in range there as Moonshot will start walking away from Hydra. Has the Seraphine coming up as well, but flashes away and will be out scot-free.
Yeah, once again, Mordekaiser just showcasing exactly what you do on this champion. You pull him in, you hit the R key, and you put him back in the Death Realm. You put him in the second Death Realm. Really just get him out of the game here. And forcing the Olaf to itemize into...
Oh man. Great hook on to Peekaboo there as they're going to try to go for some more as the turret is still firing away. Aphelios finally gets out, uses his ultimate, tags Peekaboo, I believe. Shots will come through. 1 HP almost finds the kill, but it's just not there. Maybe if there was an Ignite ticking, would have died. Fortunately, Ignite was on cooldown, so it wasn't there. But they will be able to start hitting this tower. No plates for them to get, but at least some damage, maybe even the entire thing.
All right. If this was last patch, that absolutely would have killed. 100% that Ashe dies there. And that is exactly what we've been talking about in terms of these changes. You live in situations where you should have died, and you're able to stay more safe than you were in the past. Aphelios has the capability to blow people up, or maybe he did before, but now we see the Ashe just barely getting away there. Has to be a bit of a heartbreaker, but overall, still great for the spot lane. They secure the turret, and they get a very sizable lead over to the Aphelios here on his completed mythic, completed boots too. Ashe looking to get the blood bow. It's whatever the name. I call it blood bow. I know it's not blood bow.
Immortal shield bow.
Immortal shield bow.
Yeah.
That is the item. It's not too surprising. I feel like Ashe has never gone anything else aside from like week 1 new items, Copium, Kraken Slayer Ashe. It's just this. It's still just better for her to go Immortal Shield Bow. especially considering she's gonna have to deal with some very dangerous targets on the side of Dorado here. But overall, we're starting to see that Dorado has managed to. They're still a little bit behind in gold, but they have managed to even out these lanes. The top lane in particular was a sore spot, but
Yes, that's going to be an Ash ultimate that hits the Nautilus, forces the flash out of him, gets him about half HP, but he's running away as fast as he can. The Qs are going to hit. W will secure the kill from the Ash as they finally take down the Nautilus. Will Akshan be able to find an assassination onto
he
this
might be in a
Bard?
bad spot.
Yeah, trying to find a teleport is coming through from the Mordekaiser as well, but he is in a bad spot now. Does have that ultimate available to try to get himself out of it, though.
Can't ulti
Will
anyone.
he use it? Does, in fact, get it onto the Bard, so he's going to try to 1v1 this Bard, but Bard is outplaying as much as he can. Q trying to come down, gets the stun out as Moonshot's in a really bad spot. Will go down to Masked Hydra, but Kanji is here trying to find the plays with the Aphelios. Now, Aphelios is just going to start 200 using everybody. Zomir goes down, or Zohair goes down, rather, as they're going to keep trying to find Arch, but the cleanse comes through as he will get out for now. Kanji has to find the kill. Will he be able to do so? No, he will not, as they will be blocking everything. Flashes in, trying to kill Peekaboo. Gets him so low. Does they find the kill? And Kanji goes down.
Oh, Kongito playing his heart out right there. So much great movement on this champion, but Exhaust just click that guy and make him useless. Unbelievable play from the side of Frostbite there in that fight, just overall completely outmaneuvering the side of Dorado. Just when you thought that Dorado was going to get edge, they get nothing in return, and at the very least, they could secure this Drake here. Never mind, we've got a TP from Urgot.
And an Ash Arrow on the way. There could be 4 members here first, as that is exactly what will happen. The Dragon was started. The Bard ultimate is going to hit Nautilus. Nautilus is probably going to die here. Urgot hits as well. Now they're going to try to fight this. We have Akshan on the flank. Gwen is frontlining, doing what she can. But Olaf just runs in and takes down Arch with the help of the Bard. Of course, Kanji on the flank will try to kill this Bard. Could res a teammate. Could be huge, but it doesn't look like he's going to get the chance as Masked Hydra starts running him down. Q is not going to land, but he will be able to get the reset. Backslash over the wall, trying to find the Q, trying to find the CC, but the Seraphine comes in clutch, and they manage to take both of them down. They want to go ahead and try to take this Rift Herald for the side of the Mordekaiser. Might be able to get it, but he will lose a mid lane tower in response.
Oh, yeah, that's the feels bad man right there. You play support, right? You know that Nautilus feeling. That guy is literally like 1 millimeter away from your auto attack range. You're like, I just want to slam him. I just want to slam him, and you can't get him. It's so sad. Just
very
another yeah, just another fight going over to the side. Oh man, Moonshot, you are in trouble, man.
Does have a big shield, actually trying to turn this one around. Masked Hydra trying to make it happen, but he just can't as Mordekaiser. Moonshot finds the shutdown, the saving grace of Dorado Gaming in game number 1.
We're talking about this guy being gold 1. He's the only guy playing the game right now. Come on, what's going on here? Oh man, just now that we've got a little bit of a breather here, but just this game has gone so south so quickly for Dorado. Just when we were talking about that they may have managed to stabilize the map for them, they take Temper Fate does not land. They take just a couple of horrendous fights, and as a result they're just falling further and further behind. Gold at least is still somewhat even right now. Only a 3k gold lead over to, I say somewhat even, 3k gold lead, alright? I'm thinking solo queue numbers right here. No, this isn't draft. These are like real teams. They actually kind of know what they're doing. So this 3k gold lead is absolutely a 4k actually now. This could be pretty bad for the side of Dorado. They're going to have to try and just continue to slow the game down, let their power points get powerful. Moonshot in particular is just so big right now, but here is the Axeman. He cometh.
Yeah, but he is missing some of his Qs. As long as Moonshot can outlive the Urgot ultimate. Here comes the Ash ultimate. It doesn't matter. Moonshot's dead. The rest of the team is on the way, but it doesn't matter. Now that Moonshot is gone, they could even try to threaten this Baron. We'll see if they do just that.
Yeah, the Mord ultimate was just barely not off cooldown. It just came up, basically. So very close to actually being able to try and fight back there. But man, this Olaf with the axes, if he lands one, he lands them all unless you are literally the most insane player on planet Earth, or your Gangplank and just have infinite movement speed. So it's like, yeah, it is so rough to try and play into this Urgot, but Bleeding Wolves may have been caught out.
Maybe, but Bard is going to easily body block that one, so Wolves will be just fine. Going to go ahead and try to heal up as much as you can before they possibly try for this Baron. At least just setting up all the vision in the enemy territory right now. Make sure that they have complete control over this pit, as they should.
Yeah, make sure that they gain control on the Rift right now. The Baron is up. There are 3 Dragon Soul Point for the side of Frostbite. They're just sort of biding their time. Well, both teams are just sort of waiting for the next objective right now. At any point, we could see Frostbite try and start forcing fights around the Baron. I think their team fight right now is just infinitely better than the side of Dorado, because we have Akshan, who is on 1.5 items. We have Aphelios, who is also on 1.5 items. Gwen on 1 and I don't know, 3/4 of an item. These players are so far behind the curve especially of their lane counterparts, where sure, they're sort of close, and I mean, Urgot's a little Build-A-Bear right now because he had to go for the... Oh,
yeah, hold on just a second as they are trying to fight this one out. The Nautilus ultimate, I believe, gets canceled by the Mordekaiser ultimate, but as long as Seraphine goes down, it's okay, but Gwen is going to go down first. Moonshot finally finds the kill. If Mass Hydra goes down, this could be a 1 fight. They are trying their best to kill him, but he's just healing so much. He finally goes down. Bleeding Wolves gets in. Arch is going down, getting very low. Will finally be taken out. Ash is coming in towards the fight as well. Flashes are coming through. Kanji trying to find the kill.
No!
1 HP! Bleeding Wolves lives. There will be no resurrections as the Ash and Bleeding Wolves start running away, start trying to get as much as they can, but it looks like that's just going to be a 1 fight for them.
12.10 coming in clutch once again for Frostbite here. Bleeding Wolves living with no HP right there. That was honestly a really great fight for Dorado, and it should not have been as good as it was for them. They just found a really good angle going into the river there, and accidentally, Kanji sort of saved his team by getting hit by the Ash ultimate as he was walking in. He stopped the Ash ult from actually hitting somebody useful in the fight. But, overall, man, that was a closer fight, but it still was just not close enough to really showcase that Dorado is able to take these fights, and they're gonna need to take a fight here because this is gonna be Dragon Soul.
As we will see that ultimate come through. Tempered Fate as the Ash Arrow hits as well. The Encore, everything is going wrong for the dogs as they will just be wiped off Summoner's Rift. The only ones left alive are the Gwen, but Gwen actually managed to get kill onto the back line, but she's the only one left alive on our team, only able to get the Seraphine, as the soul will be easily collected by Divine Ascension Frostbite, and they want to go ahead and take the Baron right after.
Yeah, it's going to be a very easy transition over to the Baron. Death timer's far too long for the side of Dorado for them to really fight back here. And that fight was incredible. And it showcased exactly what we expected to see from Frostbite's comp here. And honestly, the Bard, we were doubting it in the draft, but it's been a huge facilitator of so many of these fights. These Tempered Fates, while they aren't like the big, Biofrost 5-man Tempered Fates that you see in the LCS, they're hitting who they need to. They're hitting at least somebody, and it's allowing the team to set up easy engages. You land the Tempered Fate, boom, guarantees Enchanted Crystal Arrow, boom, guarantees Encore. You hit at least 2 people with that Encore, then Olaf is going to wreck house, and he does exactly that in this fight. And we actually see the Seraphine going for the Leandries here, which is arguably the best mage mythic on the patch right now, just because of the sustained damage it brings. And Seraphine is fantastic at dealing sustained damage, going for the burn here. She's constantly throwing out spells. I have my thoughts about those Archangels. Maybe there could have been a better item, but I think it's fine for what they are trying to do in terms of their itemization, and it's working out. They got the Cloud Soul, they got the Baron, they just got to look to close out the game.
For sure, as we'll see if they're able to do so. Should be a relatively simple task for the side of Divine Ascension Frostbite to close this one out. Does not take a whole lot, just have to play smart from here on. Don't really have to force too much, and if you do want to force, you actually have a really good composition for that. So excited to see.
And unfortunately for Dorado, they're sort of stuck in a situation here where they have to turtle for as long as they can, and otherwise, we have a tempered fate, but oh wait!
The Encore comes out as well, as the Death Realm will be active, as now JDK trying to live will get very low. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will find the mark onto the Akshan. Akshan goes down, as now Mass Hydra doing what he can. Fear Beyond Death will find one with the Fear, trying to get a little bit more as well. Aphelios has to run for his life. Paradox Creator wants to try to kill him as best he can, and Ash will find the kill as well. Zohair's the only one left alive, and that is not enough to defend this base, as Divine Ascension Emerald will take the Nexus Tower, take the Nexus, and take home game number 1.
Yeah, how many years, baby? Not enough to win the game. Just fantastic team fighting and fantastic combinations from the side of Frostbite. They clean it up.
Yeah, I mean, just really solid stuff all around, you gotta say, from the side of Divine Ascension Frostbite.
I can hear you. Can we hear Shogun?
Hello? All right, we can be heard again. Perfect. As I was saying, the unfortunately the top diff didn't really matter. It actually went over to dogs. Their Mordekaiser was just absolutely diffing the crap out of this Urgot. But eventually Urgot gets away from it, and he's like, "Oh, my Olaf, however, is very fed, and the rest of my team is very fed. So I'm just gonna use them to help me get ahead instead, and make this whole top diff thing not really matter that much."
Yeah, unfortunately for the Mordekaiser, playing really well in the lane. Getting a ton of solo kills and getting a lot of great opportunities there. And we were seeing him playing really well in these fights too. He was getting his ultimate down on the targets that he could easily remove from the game, but it just didn't matter because the rest of his team wasn't up to the power level that they needed to be to fight 4v4. And it doesn't matter who you remove from the side of Dorado or from the side of Frostbite, because what, you're going to remove the Seraphine? Okay, they lose a little bit of utility. You remove the Bard, they lose a little bit of utility. You cannot put Urgot or Olaf in the realm. They just leave. They take the door out. So, I don't know. It's just unfortunate for Mordekaiser after what looked like was a pretty good turnaround for him. Just going south so fast. But great pickup by Frostbite. They have to be feeling good. That was such a dominant game for them. And you can't say no to that kind of experience.
Yeah, I have to agree, and we'll see if the Dogs can bounce back in game number 2. But before we see that, we're going to go ahead and throw it over to a quick break, so don't go anywhere. We'll be right back. Alrighty, everybody, welcome back to game number 2 of the series between Dorado Gaming Iota and Divine Ascension Frostbite on the blue side. For this one, we have the Dogs, and on the red side, we have Divine Ascension Frostbite, as the bans look relatively similar, pretty much exactly the same from Divine Ascension Frostbite, but the Olaf has been banned away from Dorado Gaming Iota instead of
Lilia. I think it was, was it Lilia? Or no, it was Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw got banned. Okay, yeah. Olaf, smart. Just get rid of that champion. He's gross. He can be played in top and jungle, and he's just really good. And Kog'Maw stays alive. They're going for that first pick blue side.
I do like the Kog'Maw. It's just, what are you going to pair it up with? I think the Bard is a great answer immediately, especially with what we saw them do to the Philios. I think Seraphine is also just as good. I think you could honestly just run back the exact same comp you had so far. Going a Kog'Maw-centric comp is perfectly fine with you if you're Divine Ascension Frostbite. You're like, okay, play that composition. I don't care.
Yeah, I mean, basically, Kog'Maw fills a very similar role that the Aphelios is supposed to fill, but Kog'Maw's just a lot better right now. His trades are... You think of Kog'Maw as this late game champion, but the reality is that his early game is filthy. It is like gross. It makes your skin crawl when you watch it. If he's with an enchanter who can speed him up or give him more attack speed, he just hits level 2, hits the W key, and right clicks you to death. It is so unbelievable with just how much damage this champion does early. And you can't... Kog'Maw's a late game champ. He is the hyper carry of hyper carries. And you don't want to let him get there. And these utility picks are a great way to shut down little void spawn here. The Soraka was picked late, so it could have been a mispick, but I do think it pairs fine with the Kog'Maw. There are maybe better options still on the table right now, like the Nami or the Karma. I would rather have with the Kog'Maw before the Soraka, but I think it'll work fine.
Yeah, I am interested to see what they go ahead and lock in for their third pick. I could see a jungler, maybe something else as well, as they're saying not mispick, right? It does seem to be
Okay, yeah, that was
correct. It makes sense. I think that's what you want to go ahead and pair with Kog'Maw in bot lane.
Yeah, I just do. I would rather have something that you could let him play a bit more aggressively with like with like a Nami or a Karma. It feels a lot better in my mind, but they're gonna have a hard time playing aggressively into a hyper safe carry like the Ashe, especially if they pair it with the Seraphine or if they look to get something in round 2 here. We have the last two bans are going to be the junglers getting picked up, Jarvan for Dog and Nocturne getting picked up by Frostbite here. Nocturne, on the last patch, was arguably one of the top 3 junglers, and he hasn't really changed much. So, very interested to see how this champion's going to perform. The Jarvan, on the other hand, eh. We'll have to see. I'm not too sold on it. I think there are better picks available right now in the jungle if you wanted to go, like, I don't know, the Volley Bear or another big bruiser jungler. I feel like Jarvan isn't the top option, but I suppose it will work fine. We'll have to see how the rest of the draft shakes out.
The Gangplank ban is strange, because I think you see the Mordekaiser ban, and honestly, you should go... They probably want Urgot here. I guess the idea is that if you ban Urgot, they take the Gangplank away from you, which I can see the logic there. But I think they clearly want Urgot more than anything else. I think that's one of Bleeding Wolves' best champions. Yes, it didn't seem like it last game, but that's because Mordekaiser is one of his strongest matchups, and he kind of, egoed the blind pick, which ended up working out for them, right? Because it didn't matter how far ahead Mordekaiser got.
Maokai. Okay. Tree Man. I love him. I love Maokai so much. His weaknesses are still very apparent, but he can put out some crazy stuff. And I imagine this is going to end up being a top lane Maokai into the Urgot. Okay, actually, now that I'm thinking about it, this is terrible. Why are you picking Maokai into Urgot? You're going to get shredded. Wait, hold on. Wait, this is grief. This is grief, but they have a Soraka. They can't be support Maokai because they have a Soraka. Okay.
That's not. This
and
is
you know what?
very true.
We just let Frostbite pick up another power pick on the patch to Leah. Her win rate right now is unbelievable. She recently, I believe it was 12.9, got the mid-patch scope update, which gave her sort of shuffled around her abilities in terms of what deals damage, what doesn't, what gives AoE, what wave clear options she has. So she plays fundamentally the same, but requires a different sort of mindset on how you want to go about your combos. But the main thing is, her damage is unbelievable if you can land your full combo. So very exciting to see this get picked up. I want to know how this is going to end up. It looks like it's going to go mid lane too. So awesome to see Talia back in the mid lane. It's been so long. It's been 10,000 years, but we finally returned to the mid lane.
Yeah, and I gotta say, I'm pretty sure his mid lane is stronger. Real quick, I'm really looking at Dog's comp, and I'm thinking, what does this do?
This feels like a pile of champions. Like, I'm gonna be honest. This feels like Dog has picked a pile of champions. I'm not necessarily sure where the synergy is. Because you sort of have like the Jarvan put him in a box combo with Maokai, but that doesn't really play well with Silas, and it doesn't really play well with Kog'Maw. You don't have quite enough peel for Kog'Maw. You only have Soraka, who doesn't have enough hard CC to keep them off of this poor little guy. You have Maokai, who is really good at peeling, but then you don't have as many engage tools as maybe you need. They sort of just are moving in like 3 different directions that I'm not quite sure what the plan is from Dog here. But Frostbite's comp is just like beautiful. Beautiful. It is exactly what you want to see.
Yeah, I do agree. So to me, I think Silas works with Maokai Jarvan a little bit because of he accomplishes what you want in dive. I think taking Silas was fine. It's just pairing Jarvan, Maokai, and mainly Jarvan and Silas with Kog'Maw, Soraka definitely seems like there's some disconnect on what the team composition wants to do because you're not really giving the Kog'Maw a lot of protection. He does get a lot of peel. You do have a lot of ways to peel for him, so there is that. So you kind of have to play this composition in a way that doesn't play to its strengths, but can still play the role decently of peeling for Kog'Maw. Because at the end of the day, that's all you have to do in order to win the game is make sure Kog'Maw stays alive whenever Nocturne and Talia try to go in.
Yeah, the unfortunate thing is here is just having that one piece of insurance, that one late game carry is just going to be so hard to really rely on once you get to those later stages of the game, because there are a lot more threats on the side of Frostbite here with the Urgot, with the Nocturne, with the Talia, and even the Ashe. Sure, you see more, like Nocturne is going to fall off a little bit earlier. Ashe is not quite the big hyper carry you're looking for, but all these champions do quite a bit of damage. If I could say anything, maybe Frostbite is lacking a bit of frontlining capability, but Nocturne's builds right now, he typically goes Stride Breaker into more bruiser items. So he basically just becomes a tank. And that will work fine. I don't know. It just, the comp that Dorado has here just feels so odd. It does not play well together. We'll have to see if it can perform, though.
Yeah, I know Zol is in there. The coach for Dorado saw that he hasn't said anything in chat, but I know he's there. So
Well, can
maybe
you give
he
us
has some
the can you
insight.
give us the
Yeah, so
Maokai knowledge? Why Maokai? I love Maokai. All right, I'm a big Maokai enthusiast. Why? This is not a good game for Maokai. He does not play well into Urgot. Like,
I think he plays well into the Nocturne. Yeah, that's really it. I think he plays well into Nocturne. I think he's really good at peeling him off of his team. So there's that. I think he has a purpose in the team fights. In the 1v1, it's really bad for him though, but
oh,
you've
it's
already been the
horrendous.
yeah.
It is. Yeah. I think we sort of both agree that the Frostbite's comp is going to be looking better here, and they could be cleaning up the 2-0, but For the time being, we're going to take a quick break. When we come back, we will be in the match here. Will Dog be able to turn this back around and tie up the series, or will Frostbite give him the cold shoulder and take this game home for them? Stick around, because the exciting conclusion will be coming up after the break.
Alrighty, everybody, and we are back with game number 2. This time around, we have the Dogs Dorado Gaming Iota on the blue side. Hold on a second, as Moonshot has to burn his flash to get away from the problem at hand. But they want to try to go in. JDK might be in a bad situation for Divine Ascension. Frostbite, he has to flash away, but he could be taken down. Another stun would mean his death. Has no flash available. Trying to queue around, trying to get that going, as now the E will come through, but Soraka takes the kill! It's a disaster! sure, but it's going to be A-okay as they want to keep fighting. Mass Hydra could be in a bad spot as Arch is here. They want to go ahead and fight all day, every day. Bleed Wolf slashes in, trying to get the kill. Kanji, run away, flashes away, will get out for now, as that's going to be a lot of damage coming through. Flashes are burning left and right. And at the end of the day, it will still only be that one kill going over to the side of Dorado. The flashes have been expended. Yes, the exhaust as well. But I'm pretty sure that's only really worth for the side of the dogs. Yeah, I don't know what to tell you.
Okay, I feel like this is a scrim. All right, can we run this back? Like I feel like somebody's griefing me in particular. Like, that was interesting. I mean, it's very rare that you get a level 1 5v5 team fight in Topside River. All right, I'm excited that we saw it. I don't want to see it again. What? Why? Okay, but it's fine. Like you said, a lot of summoner spells got blown there. Okay, Jungle Mouse dying. Mid DC. I don't blame him. I don't blame him.
Well, it was actually dogs mid DC apparently. So, oh no, you're never mind. It was in fact JDK who DC'd. As apparently both of them had something wrong. I think both mids DC'd or something. I don't know what's going on.
Okay,
or maybe
no,
that's Kanji. I think that's Kanji just trolling.
I swear to God, Kanji. I swear to God. I love you. How dare you? But it looks like we might not get freeze. Usually we get a freeze, but hey, looking good. Yeah, overall, okay, never mind. Well, while we're frozen here, while we're frozen here, we get to really appreciate looking at the summoner spells that got blown in that exchange. We saw two flashes, 2 TPs, and an exhaust getting burned by the side of 7,
37, 38.
8,
I think we're
9.
good. Just making sure we're all synced up. Of course, it's Bleeding Wolves is going to get engaged upon. Moonshot trying to find the kill. So Harris here as well has the level 3. Uses the flash to get the knockup on the Bleeding Wolves. Bleeding Wolves, remember, has no flash. Moonshot will find that kill for himself as well. As
Maokai wins these.
Absolutely. Well, he had a little bit of help, but he was winning the exchange before that. So yeah, Maokai wins those.
Yeah, it's great to see. Zoal came. I asked Zoal, as a representative of Becky News, what in the hell this Maokai pick was. He said that the Maokai is good into Urgot and really great with the Seraphine ultimate. I agree with the second statement. I was very dubious about the first statement, but for right now, actually looking to be pretty decent. And granted, with the durability buffs, it might be a bit better of a matchup, but we do have a trade.
As Peekaboo could go down here, has to flash away. The heal comes in as well from Paradox Creator. Pretty sure the heal was all they really needed. Maybe the damage could have come through, but now Kanji in a bad spot is gonna maybe go down. Is gonna get feared up, trying to get away, tries to E away, but he won't find it. As JDK will find the kill. Kanji dies once again in the mid lane. His first death of this game, but things aren't looking up for him so far.
Yeah, the Talia getting picked into the Sylas is incredibly smart. Similar to the reason why you would pick Cassiopeia into Sylas is because you can just lock him down in a pit. You prevent him from dashing, and if you get rid of his dash, you get rid of a ton of his utility, all of his mobility, and all of his CC. He's basically useless in the early game if you just ground him. And Talia's E now stops dashes. It stuns you if you try to dash into it or through it. So Sylas, on top of that stun, could not dash out. We actually see in that fight Sylas getting to the edge of it. Once he is out, he tries to go for a dash, but by then it's far too late. He's taken way too much damage, and Talia is just able to easily clean that one up. And getting an early kill on the Talia in this matchup will be very good for her. But overall, still the gold is actually evened out across the map, which is nice to see after that really ambitious level 1 fight. We are starting to see the game slow down a bit, and both teams are just waiting to see what they can do from here.
We will see what's next. The dragon would be the objective I imagine they'd fight over, or one will just sneak it as Bleeding Wolves tries to go in for the play, getting as much damage down onto Moonshot as possible. Wins out on that trade pretty easily. Moonshot does have that passive, though. Make sure he stays healthy.
Yeah, the passive healing did get hit. Not it got hit quite a bit, but not as much as like some of the other healing champs. And it's Maokai's only real healing ability, so overall not going to be too bad. Meanwhile, Kanji taking a huge trade in the mid lane. This Talia so strong. Her trading is just incredibly effective, especially against champions like the Silas. This is part of the reason why this champion is so popular. It's just because of how oppressive she is in lane right now. If you are good at piloting this champion, the enemy laner is just not able to play the game. And Kanji is a very capable mid laner. So it's really great to see this Talia perform right now and showcasing the power of the pick here. Granted, we are still fairly early in the game, and the CS is actually still pretty even. The only difference is the kill for the Talia. Across the map, though, still pretty slow. Jarvan looks like he's pathing up to Bleeding Wolves. There is some vision there, so it will get spotted. We see Talia moving down. A little bit of a trade.
Meanwhile, that Soraka is going to take a little bit of damage there. Trying to stop as much as possible. Zohair is in the area, going to try to find the knockup, maybe onto both. Bleeding Wolves has to start backing up, though, as they don't want to go ahead and take this. They have a feeling Nocturne is nearby, or they saw the Nocturne. I think they managed to spot him out. So they decide to not fight that one right there.
Yeah, and something I just noticed, and I wanted to point it out while I'm thinking about it. Zohair has actually opted into the unsealed spellbook onto. Oh, never mind. We got to fight.
Yeah, Talia wants to try to find the kill onto Arch. Arch does use the cleanse, will flash over the wall, will get away, as Soraka also forced to flash as well. As Talia will go, well, my job here is done. I burned that flash pretty easily. I will be glad to take that one away. Talia's back does get stopped, I believe. Meanwhile, Moonshot trying to go in onto Bleeding Wolves, trying to find the play, uses his ultimate. Here comes Zohair, trying to find the play as well. Flag and drag does not hit. I believe it was like point blank, as Bleeding Wolves has to flash away. The flash goes after. Moonshot wants to try to find the kill. They want to try to kill him. He's going to get very low.
Oh, the
Zohair
turret.
will go down,
Oh,
but gets
what is the turret?
executed. Beautiful stuff from the side of the Dogs. But on the other side of the map, Divine Ascension Frostbite will go ahead and take away that dragon.
Oh man. Yeah, Bleeding Wolves, we expected sort of more from this Urgot pick here, and yeah, maybe I'm wrong. I'm willing to admit that I'm wrong. I'm not necessarily the smartest player. I a lot of what I think in this game is based off of my own games, and I'm not particularly great at the game, so it's understandable that I would be wrong about this. And yeah, we're sort of seeing the Urgot doing really well. We do have a fight.
No. Nice ultimate. The crystal, or the enchanted crystal arrow that is, will land onto the Soraka, trying to find the play onto Kog'Maw as well, but they will settle just fine with getting that Soraka kill. Seraphine is down in the bot lane, going to throw out that E. Will not connect, but that is okay. They finally get a kill for themselves back onto their enemies. And the fact that it goes on to Ashe, I feel like they'll be pretty happy with.
Yeah, absolutely. We'll be loving to see that. And we actually see Ashe opt into the really early Executioner's calling here. Pretty common for AD carries to pick this up if they are laning into the Soraka. Because, yeah, obviously, Soraka. It's Soraka. It's Soraka. It's Soraka. This champion is quite a threat in terms of her healing. She can just make the game impossible to play. She's the League of Legends equivalent of a control strategy. She just stops you from playing rather than necessarily kill you, which is a way to play the game, and Executioners is basically the only real tool you have to stop that healing. Granted, anti-heal has been hit, and we actually talked about this before the cast, is that because of how the numbers shake out, anti-healing is actually worse now than regular healing. We have Kanji in a fight.
As they are trying to go in, the ultimate comes out from the Jarvan to trap the Nocturne in.
Enchanted Crystal Arrow!
As the Enchanted Crystal Arrow will hit, as the Encore will secure the kill onto the Jarvan. Meanwhile, in the top lane, Moonshot trying to find the play, gets the Q back, but a nice E from Bleeding Wolves, trying to outplay his way away from this one, and it will stay alive for now. Should be just fine, as a one fight on the bot side of the map will be pretty solid for the side of Divine Ascension Frostbite, starting to amass a very small but very efficient gold lead here.
Yeah, Frostbite is able to start getting these inches that they need in the game here. Nocturne in particular has got quite a gold lead over his lane opponent here. Almost, not quite 1,000 gold up. It is 35 for the Nocturne and 28 for the Jarvan. So definitely is going to be very good for this Nocturne, who needs to be ahead early to make himself useful. And overall, we're just seeing again, what we saw last game from Frostbite, which is really good team fighting and really good coordination as a team. I do want to give some credit there in that fight to JDK, who was playing out of their mind, zoning with those abilities and landing everything that they needed to. They actually almost picked Kog'Maw there during that fight with a knockback into a combo, but was able to survive. We have a Paranoia.
Trying to find the play on to Moonshot. Moonshot does use his ultimate, but the ultimate Fear Beyond Death is going to land, and he will find that kill. Finally answers one back onto the Maokai, as Maokai will have to trudge his way on back. Does not have teleport, will lose a solid wave here, as Kog'Maw and Soraka are struggling under their own tower. But meanwhile, Rift Herald is getting taken by the Nocturne. Nocturne does not have flash to get himself out of this one.
Wait, she didn't
Knockup is
follow
going to
the
come
wall.
through, as Hydra should go down here, uses his ultimate to try to find some space. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will swing wide, and never mind, that was not Nocturne's own ultimate. It was in fact Silas's, as they're trying to find the kill. Zohair smites the Herald for a little bit of extra HP. Will stay alive, as Talia has very low mana. Should go down here as well. Zohair waiting for his combo to knock her up, secure this kill. Stun should come through as well with the knock up. There it is, as Kanji's going to find himself his third kill of the game, as the Rift Herald is up. Very takeable for them should they want it, but doesn't look like they want to risk it with the Urgot coming up in about 5 seconds here.
Yeah, the Soraka ulti came down in that fight, and it turned out to be very effective for the team, keeping them alive. And of course, the smite healing onto the Herald was effective as well. Definitely a bit of a misplay coming in from JDK. They threw down the wall to try and close the gap into the fight. But the thing is, and this is a little unintuitive, you have to hold the R key to follow your wall. If you just press it and you let go of the R key, you do not follow it. You have to hold the button to ride the wall. I've played Talia a few different times. I wouldn't say I'm proficient on the champion, but I always forget to do that because it just doesn't really make a whole lot of sense to me. Second Dragon will get picked up here. This is going to be a Mountain Rift. Looking good for Maokai here. Definitely happy to be a tank with a Mountain Rift as your option here, but the side of Dog are going to have to actually start winning some of these fights if they want to be able to secure these Drakes. As the game goes on, we have Bleeding Wolves actually has a level lead now on to Moonshot here, and a CS lead still. Yeah, the Maokai not starting to fall down a little bit in effectiveness.
Oh, no. Enchanted Crystal Arrow will hit right onto the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw ends up trouble. They're flashing on the tower. Everybody's flashing. Mass Hydra will go down to Arch. Arch is staying alive too. Meanwhile, in the mid lane, JDK trying to find a play. And Zohair is here. Kanji's going to go down to 1 HP. Would have died with the changes before, but because yet again, 12.10 strikes. And as a result, Kanji will live. Meanwhile, in the bot lane, it looks like Seraphine and Ashe should get out of here. Soraka kept that Kog'Maw alive. It looks like they basically just traded HP bars, and Kog'Maw will be just fine. Meanwhile, on the top side, Bleeding Wolves, maybe it's a trouble. Never mind. He should be just fine.
Yeah, man, that was just so much healing across, not so much healing, but just so much action across the map. We literally had 3 different fights in all 3 lanes. We had a dive in the bot lane, we had a dive in the mid lane, and we had a 1v1 in top side. And across the map, only Hydra dies. So definitely, could have gone worse for either team, as it looked like everything was on a knife's edge across the map there. And yeah, just really just so much action, so much pressure being put down. Hydra doing what they can there, but the dive there, they went in with the Paranoia, but they just sort of got slowed down. The Soraka was able to do enough peeling to keep Kog'Maw alive, drop down those heals, slow Nocturne enough, and just with the turret damage, just obliterated him. And it was unfortunate. That was a bit of a botched execution there. Kanji's in trouble. Maybe
nice knock up. JDK will get hit by the Jarvan ultimate, but also traps his Sylas. But here comes the Nautilus. Little bit of BM means that he dies, as well as the Jarvan should go down. As the red buff is enough to get the kill. 12.10, not quite strong enough to save him there. As we see the Nocturne pushing this wave under tower, should be just fine. Did Soraka have ult? I believe she used it in that fight. And just
she used it at some point. I don't necessarily know if it was in that fight or when she used it, but it did get used. So yeah, overall, that was a gank coming out from Zohair. They had a very good jump onto JDK, but JDK did so much damage to Kangji before Zohair even showed up that because of how chunked out the HP bars were on the other side, Hydra was just able to cleanly get in with a Paranoia and clean up that situation there. So really good presence of mind from Hydra to just be around the map, getting that counter gank off successfully, and turning around what should have been an easy pickup by the side of Dorado into a catastrophe. And now we have a stolen Talia ulti.
Yeah, Sylas is here. His Everfrost will miss. Talia is here as well. Moonshot teleports in. Urgot doesn't have his own teleport to try to help out. Maokai does have that ultimate available. Will he be able to use it, though? It does not look like it, as we have that dragon spawning in a minute and 20 means that there shouldn't be a play here. Shouldn't be a fight, as Urgot is just lumbering back on towards the top lane.
Yeah, and this is sort of one of the weaknesses of Maokai in terms of being able to go for these TP ganks. He's not Ornn. He is not able to get into a fight and immediately drop down big CC. You're asking where his ultimate is. If he had even fired it, it would have hit literally nobody. It is one of the slowest moving piece of garbage abilities in this entire game, and the fact that it's like 200 mana and a 3-minute long cooldown is a crime. So, like, you are never, unless you have a great flank angle, you're never going to be able to land this Maokai ultimate because they will literally just outrun it. They can just outrun it. It's so dumb. It's such a bad ability, but it's what you got to deal with if you play Maokai. It can be so good. Just it's not great for those sorts of TP ambushes. If that was an Ornn, that could have been a much better situation there. But overall, I guess not too bad. Nobody ended up dying in that exchange, so take what you can and run with it. But now we see the dragon is going to be coming up pretty soon. Both sides are posturing around it, but vision is being taken by the side of Dorado as they're going to look to start it out now. Ashe is not quite there in the fight yet. She's pathing around, staying out of vision. Dragon's being started.
Yeah, it does look to be that way, as that will be the Encore taken away from the Sylas, looking to use it, trying to find the angle that he can, as that's going to be the Enchanted Crystal Arrow right onto this Soraka. Soraka's gonna die. There she goes. Maybe not. She actually stays alive the entire time. Dorado managed to take it down. Kog'Maw gets the
still alive.
Try to find the damage onto Bleeding Wolves, as Soraka finally dies, and all of a sudden Bleeding Wolves is able to turn the fight around with the rest of his team, as everybody goes down for Dorado. They get aced, as it took a lot. It took killing the Soraka, but once Soraka went down, the rest of the team just exploded.
Yeah.
As now they're looking for the towers.
Wow, yeah. Dorado is able to secure the Drake there, but they're all pinned in the pit, and even if everybody has Flash, the only person who didn't was Kanji, who I believe used it during that fight. So, unfortunately, because they get caught into the pit, we have a great Paranoia go down, we have great follow-up from the side of Frostbite, and that was an insane encore. I don't know if you saw it, that was straight up like a 5-man encore. That was unbelievable value coming in from Paradox Creator, just doing so much to keep the team locked in, keep them in the pit, and they were all in the pit. That is just firing range for the Talia and for the Urgot. Easy pickings, and that is a very, very dominant ace. So even with the Drake, that's going to be 6k gold over as a lead for Frostbite here. The second Herald gets picked up as well. They've gotten that in their back pockets. We'll see where they decide to use it. No outer turrets still available on the map, so that's going to be used to likely cash in that big inner turret gold if they can approach any of these objectives. It's on Nocturne, so he'll have to make a detour somewhere to drop that down. But yeah, overall, just once again, we talked about this sort of in the pregame, the power of the dive and the power of the team fighting that Frostbite has drafted here. it just requires so much better execution from the side of Dorado to even compete here. Soraka was doing what they can, but Soraka can only do so much.
Very true, as it does look like Silas wants to try to find this kill onto Talia, but he's not going to be able to do it. Nocturne is in the area as well. Could easily respond to that play. Silas will instead just start taking the minions, as they could have looked onto the Jarvan, would have been a little riskier, however, and decided to just play a little safe. Go ahead and start prepping up Vision for this Baron. Next neutral objective up for contention.
Yeah, that will be the next objective on the board here. I don't think either team can really look to pick it up unless they get a good fight. Oh boy.
As here comes the Nocturne into the bot lane, as now Silas is trying to survive. He's about half HP, a little under 1 HP. Or here comes the Soraka ultimate, as now he's trying to survive. Has no Zanyas to stay alive for a little bit longer and buy some time. As now Jarvan's in a bad spot, but he's not taking too much damage. Teleport is coming in onto his E. Ashe is on the flank, trying to stop the TP from coming through is the Urgot, but he's just not able to do so. Moonshot is here, has that ultimate available. Will he use it? There it is, but they're going to be able to run away from it so easily. It does absolutely nothing, as now they're trying to find a little bit more. JDK trying to go in, trying to find that W. Maybe the Earth or Trembling Earth will not quite find what he wants to, as JDK, or rather Mass Hydra, will be the one who summons that Rift Herald. Gonna get it to crash. Should be able to get that tower as well. Maybe not, is very low. Mass Hydra's going in, gets silenced up. Trying to find the kill. Wall is knocking or zoning them off. Teleport coming through now from the Silas, though, is there now going in. Jarvan ultimate gonna drop onto the Ashe, forces the flash out. Peekaboo has to run for their life. Enchanted Crystal arrow from the Silas. Somehow this guy is living for so long. Mass Hydra trying to live as well, but not a lot of healing left from this Soraka, as the Fear Beyond Death hits, finds the kill. Bleeding Wolves, the sniper from the top lane, as all of a sudden Dogs trying to find a heads-up play end up going down 1-2 up for Divine Ascension Frostbite.
Yeah. You gotta give credit to Dorado. They're finding fights and getting some really great angles that they have no business getting at this point in the game. That could have gone easily in their favor, but just the power of the side of Frostbite here, they were able to kite back for so long. This Ashe with the Seraphine and with the Immortal Shield Bow lives for so long, even while being hit by all these targets, that they just weren't able to get rid of the Ashe and move on to another target fast enough. And because of that, they bought enough time for Bleeding Wolves to complete the TP and for the rest of Frostbite to get on the same page and just clean up that fight in response, not even giving Dorado an inch in this game. Now nearly a 10k gold lead over the Frostbite, as the next Drake is currently up and is currently started.
Yep, only brings them to Soul Point. It's not going to be Soul. Might be looking for a steal for the side of the Jarvan. They're not pulling it out, which is a little weird, as they should know where they are. As now here comes the Maokai ultimate. As you said, the Silas has the Nocturne ultimate, so they have to play a little scared. Silas isn't going in with it, though. Just trying to get into position. Here comes the Jarvan. Doesn't steal away. Nocturne is going to ult himself as well, as Jarvan should go down. They leave him to die, and they're going to walk towards this Baron, pressure that one out, as this is an absolute disaster for Dorado Gaming Iota.
Yeah, Dorado is just doing everything they can here in this game. That was probably as good as you could maybe look to get in terms of that fight. They were never going to be able to actually fight in the river there to try and get... They had to just go for a steal. Zohair goes for it, whiffs. We actually see the Zanyas picked up. You said you wanted to see Zanyas this game, right? Zanyas on Jarvan, right? Yeah?
Actually, yes, but I'll get to that in a second, as the Encore is going to come through, hits so many members. Most importantly, it hits the Raka, the Fear Beyond Death with the flash, gets the Fear off on to the Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw running for his life. Kanji trying to get onto the backline. Hydra trying to stop that from mattering. These Anyas will come out from Kanji, but it doesn't matter. He will go down. Meanwhile, on the backline for the side of the Dogs, are trying to survive. Zohair trying to run away, trying to peel for his Kog'Maw. Kog'Maw will live just barely. The question is, can they find the kill? Does not look like it. Nocturne not in range. They don't have the vision. They get the vision! Here comes Nocturne for the kill! As now Moonshot is the only one alive to defend the base for now. Thereby also on the Soraka is spawning, but it's 2 versus 5. They have to hold out. The question is, can they? It's a barrened upside of Divine Ascension Frostbite. Here comes the Moonshot.
Here comes the Maokai ultimate. It's so good!
The healing is coming through from the Soraka, trying to keep Moonshot alive while the turrets are hitting Hydra. And the Urgot will actually die. Kanji is alive, but they're trying to still hit these towers, hit the Nexus next. This is a destroyed base, even if they manage to live, which Kanji will not. He will die. Zohair's gonna go in. He should be next, trapping them in with himself. The stun lands right onto the Soraka. They're just hitting the Nexus as much as they can. And that will be Divine Ascension Frostbite taking the Nexus, taking the game, and taking the series 2-0.
Yeah, great stuff from Frostbite there. Finding great comps, executing them to the peak of what they were looking for there. A bit of, I mean, I'm not even going to say they were really blundering. Aside from maybe a couple of misplays, just mechanically, Dorado was doing so well to try and fight back, getting as many inches as they could, but they were just in such a bad spot, and their comp had no real way to get back into the game aside from just praying and hoping they can get a good lockdown and hoping that they can get something moving in the late game fights. But unfortunately, Kog'Maw, we just never got to see it come online. We never got to see the Silas do Silas just got denied in so many of these situations. And really, it came down to just a lack of damage across the board for the side of Dorado. You put all your eggs in one basket, that basket falls to the ground, it all gets cracked.
Yeah, and I gotta say, like, in this last game, it just felt like there wasn't a lot of damage. I think the main reason for that is because the Kog'Maw never really got rolling, and you don't really have anything that facilitates that, or at least you're not playing it like you're facilitating it. You don't have the Jarvan and Maokai peeling for the Kog'Maw Soraka, and I think that's what you have to do. Play a very strong disengage comp, which the Maokai can do. It just didn't feel like he was really facilitating that role in the Jarvan. It's like, what does he do with this composition? He doesn't do a whole lot. Doesn't really peel very well. In fact, if he tries to peel someone that's on Kog'Maw and Soraka, he probably screws them over.
Yeah. Now, that's the real issue with the Jarvan if you're going to pair it with a Kog'Maw. And that's sort of what we were talking about, is that their draft is sort of going in two different directions. Jarvan's looking to play a different game than Kog'Maw is. And unfortunately, like, you can see in theory, you trap him in a box and then Kog'Maw can just right-click for free, but that's just not how the game is played. There are so many ways that you can get out of the box that it's not necessarily the end of the world, and Kog'Maw still is not able to step up because he has to contend with Taliyah. He has to contend with Ashe. There's just too much zone control from the side of Frostbite that even in an optimal fight, Kog'Maw was not able to play the game. And it was such a great job from the side of Frostbite denying the one win condition from actually going off. And I do want to give a shout out to the MVP poll here. If you're in the chat and you want to put down a vote for who you think MVP was, we have Bleeding Wolves in the top lane on the Urgot both games. Masked Hydra showing off some skills in the jungle on the new Olaf, and the Nocturne JDK on the new Taliyah in that second game, putting on a clinic. Peekaboo being the best support you've seen in the game, second to Paradox Creator, the actual support, who had an incredible Seraphine game.
Yeah, for sure. And before we go ahead and talk about the MVP poll, we can go ahead and bring it back over to the desk so we can have Mr. Dodge join us once again.
If everything doesn't break when I come back. Great job, guys, working through the technical difficulties. I do appreciate it greatly. Chat will let me know if I'm creating a horrible sound echo going on through. I did switch over my mic to hopefully avoid that from going through. But man, what a series for Divine Ascension Frostbite. I do want to say we didn't get to our predictions here when it came to the pregame, so I'll show them here in the old postgame.
Oh, no, don't do that.
Oh, no, I'm going to do that. I'm doing that.
Yeah, at least we didn't say 2-0. We didn't say 2-0.
So Becky with Dorado, Shogun with Dorado, and what did Dodge have? Dodge had Divine Ascension. Yes, I did. Going on through. So I just want to shout that out for myself here.
You know, I'm replacing Kongman today. I just had to represent the Kongman experience, which is, of course, picking the wrong team in predictions and shilling for Shyvana. And I would like to say, you know, give a shout out to homegirl Shyvana. Was not shown in the series. Actually doing quite well in solo queue, though. So maybe we'll start seeing that in the future. Not getting picked up this game. I do think the Shyvana pick is pretty decent, but just wasn't going to fit for both of these teams. You know, in any of the compositions they were trying to play, I don't think it would have fit their game plan at all. So yeah, overall, just you know, I believed in the power of Kongito. You know, his PR is incredible, but unfortunately, it just comes down to really great execution. I'm not even going to say it's an outright draft diff. While I do think that Frostbite had better drafts in both games, it was really just execution across the board for the side of Frostbite was on another level. They fought their fights so expertly. They had great angles. They managed to get the choke points that they needed to, and they were working as a full unit, which is so impressive to see in these games, and I'm very glad that they showcased that sort of performance here, especially against a team who was, at this point, undefeated.
Yeah, definitely so. I do want to bring it back just to something you had mentioned, Becky, which is, you know, you had to channel Kongman and then predict the wrong people. I hate to say this, Kongman also predicted Divine Ascension Frostbite. Kongman was the one who brought to my attention... Kongman was the one who brought to my attention that Frostbite's top laner rather was Diamond 4 and that Dorado's top laner was Gold 1, and from there I was like, oh, you know what? I think I know what I am predicting, but what we couldn't have predicted is that our MVP on the night is indeed going to be going over to Peekaboo for 1-10 on the Ashe there in the final game for Divine Ascension. Very, very well done there. Shout outs to Peekaboo and big congratulations on picking up that MVP there.
Yeah, you know, gotta give a shout out to the supports in the AD carry role. You know, you love it. You love to see the 10 assists on the Ashe, enabling the team to do well. And what I think worked so well with their comp in the first game and the second game is just how much the utility that they gave into the map for their big, beefy dudes on the top side of the map with the Olaf and the Urgot and the Nocturne. All of these champions really get enabled by picks like Ashe and the Seraphine. And Peekaboo was playing insanely well. And that is, of course, not to take away the fact that they were also doing a lot of damage. So really just a great showcase from Peekaboo here. Definitely a deserved MVP. I did vote for them.
Yeah, we love our supportive AD carries, utility AD carries. They are definitely the backbone of League of Legends in a variety of ways, wanting to do that role that nobody else wants to fulfill, which is to take gold to be useless. Well, not useless, but to not do damage, which, let's be real, is about as good as being useless. But that'll do it here for us tonight. Thank you guys so much for sticking on through, rolling on through all the technical difficulties I did experience in my first stint as a producer. It was still a whole lot of fun for me. I'm sure I can speak for Shogun and Becky in saying they had a great time too. But once again, thank you guys so much for coming out for VRS Week 4. We'll be back on the main channel next week at this same time for week number 5 of the Victoris Rival Series. So we will see you guys then and there. Have a great night, and goodbye.